What's going on, everyone? Thanks for checking out this video. And today I want to show you an e-bike that's a little bit different than most of the bikes I cover on this channel. This is the Ego X from Tenways, and it's a Class 1 e-bike. Just to refresh your memory, Class 1, no throttle. No throttle on this bike, it's pedal assist only. In fact, it has a lot of features that differ from the hub drive fat tire bikes I'm typically riding. This one's got 29-inch wheels with skinny tires, a mid-drive motor, and 10 speeds, all on a frame that's pretty lightweight, and this bike's surprisingly powerful. So let me tell you all about it. All right, folks, we're checking out the Ego X from Tenways. And when I checked the website this morning, this bike was currently priced at $24.99. And you've got a couple options at checkout. You can select the color. This is the Midnight Black. It's a flat black frame, and it's got this like gold chrome accents, which I thought were really cool. The other color options are Ocean Blue and Starlight Silver. In addition to the color, you can also select your frame size. This is the large size frame. I picked large because I'm 6 feet tall. I think this is good for folks up to 6'3", but you can also get an extra large frame size. Now first, I'm going to walk you through all the specs on this bike, then I'll show you some ride footage on how I tested the performance, and then we'll wrap things up at the end and I'll just kind of give you some final thoughts. But let's start looking over some of the components. So for your tires, you got CST tires, and they are 29 by 2.25. And I would call this more of a street tread. It's got a little bit of grip. I did test this in the mud off-road, so you'll get a chance to see that in the performance footage. But for me, I would say this is mainly a street tire, and it is a quick release on the front. It's also a quick release on the rear wheel as well because it's a mid-drive motor. So no motors to contend with in the hubs. You can make everything quick release. For your brakes, you've got Tektro hydraulic brakes, 180mm disc, and these were the M275 brakes, and they were awesome. These worked great. I really like the brakes on this bike. Smooth, quiet, and powerful. Definitely no complaints there on those. For your fork, you can see you got a Suntour suspension fork. You do have adjustments here on the top where you can lock it out if needed, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do. I had no problem with the fork, functioned just fine. The rack and fenders are included in the purchase price. They're metal fenders, and they were actually really sturdy, really thick. I can't bend them at all with my hands, which is something I'm usually able to do with the aluminum fenders. I can't do this at all. These are really, really sturdy. I like those a lot. They did a pretty good job of keeping the splash off. I got splashed probably from like here down, but more importantly, I didn't get the splash of the mud on me. And that's what I think a fender's supposed to do, right? Same thing with the back, fully wraparound fenders, that really thick metal, and they look nice on there. So they did a good job with those. And then here is your rear rack, and it says on the top that it will support a max of 25 kilograms. And you've got a taillight wired into the back of it right here. But it's got this unique looking design where everything kind of swoops back and then heads back toward the seat, and it feels really sturdy. And I suppose you could take it off if you wanted. There's just a bolt right here and right here on the frame. Same thing on the other side, but I mean, I think that's gonna be a really useful feature. But let's head back up to the front of the bike. I'll show you the headlight. It's got a headlight that's integrated right into the frame of the bike. And let me turn it on for you really quick. All right, there you go, headlight on, that's what it looks like. And when you turn the headlight on, of course, you get the tail light going as well. There's no brake lights or any other lighting, it's just headlight and tail light. This one, I feel like it's more of a light to be seen and not a light to see. It wasn't extremely bright, but you know, I'm not really a nighttime rider at all, so this was perfectly fine for me. Depending on how much you ride at night, you may or may not want to add some auxiliary lighting. Let's take a look at the wiring here up at the front. So all these wires, this is really the only spot on the bike you see any wiring, right? And everything goes into the headset right here and then just disappears. There's no wires visible anywhere else on this bike, just here at the front. So it's relatively clean wiring job. And while I'm here, I want to mention this before I forget, because I forgot to mention this in the performance footage. But so coming out of here, you've got your shifter, and then you've also got your hydraulic brake line here. There is no motor cutoff wire coming out of this brake system. There's no electronic, motor cutoff switches on here. And I noticed that a couple times when I was out riding, I would be coming up to a stop sign. So I'm still pedaling, but yet I started pulling the brakes. And I could kind of feel the bike fighting back and forth. I'm braking, but yet the motor's still trying to power me. And I was like, what is going on? And then I realized, okay, there's no motor cutoff when you hit the brakes. So not a huge deal. I mean, I got used to it pretty quick. It's just something I thought I'd point out just so you're aware of it. But now let's take a look at all the controls up here on the handlebars. These handlebars are very, very wide. They're 30 inches wide. That's really wide. And I love it. I love super wide handlebars because it feels like it just gives you so much control over the front end. So I was digging that. Very wide. Your grips are like a round foam, and they're locking grips. They have a locking ring on each end. I like round grips, so I really like these. I wouldn't change them out. They're nice and sturdy in your hand. Right here, your trigger shifter, rapid fire trigger shifters for the Shimano Dior system. It's a 10-speed. And you can't really see, there's no numbers here. You don't know what gear you're in. There's just a little red line that kind of indicates approximately where you are. But again, didn't really bother me at all riding the bike. On this side, you've got your button cluster that controls your menu and your screen and everything. Just 3 buttons there, power and then up and down. And this is your display. Very simple, readable display. It only gives you basically 4 things. I mean, you got your speed really big. You've got your pedal assist big there on the right-hand side. And then the bottom indicator bar is your battery life. And then the top is like a power meter. As you start pedaling, you'll see that power meter change colors and go up. And that's basically it that's on the front screen. I guess you do have a little clock there in the corner, but if you want to get into like odometers and trip meters, you just push the power button once and it takes you into this next menu. So trip, odometer, trip time, range actually gives you a range, how much time is left on the battery, 44 miles. This thing's pretty much fully charged. You can see it says 100%. Hit the power button again and it gives you like average speeds and max speeds, stuff like that. So it's really a good looking display, very small, out of the way. It makes this bike even more, incognito. You can't really even tell this thing's electric. The battery is so integrated in the frame. There's not much wiring. There's no display screen sticking out. There's no giant hubs in the wheels. And it's quiet. The motor's really quiet. So this is kind of, you can slide by, people wouldn't even know it's electric. Now I do want to point out one change I made here up at the handlebar stem. And that is, I took this piece out that came from Tenways. This is the handlebar stem that was on here. So it was mounted there like that. And it had my handlebars stretched out like another 2 inches away from me. So I put a shorter one of these in here just to bring the handlebars back to me. I felt like the reach was just a little too much for me. I'm an old guy, right? I want to be kind of upright, have the bars come back to me. So I swapped in a shorter one of those. It's like, I don't know, a $10 part, super easy to do. And then I also slid the seat like all the way forward, and that really alleviated a lot of the pressure I was feeling on my neck and shoulders. And that change of like 2 inches made a big difference. And I rode this for the range test and was comfortable the whole time. Now your battery pack is integrated right here into the frame. It's very hidden. It's color paint matched, color matched. You don't even really see it in there. And the way you take it out is I've got the key in on the other side right there. So I'm gonna turn the key and you'll see it kind of like pop open. There. And then it's got this little lever here in the front that holds it in place. So I just turn this lever and it'll drop right out. And there's your battery pack. It's a 36 volt, 14 amp hour. So it's 504 watt hours, which is honestly pretty small for an e-bike battery. However, I can't hard to do everything one-handed. It had great range. I did a range test on it. You'll see that in the performance footage. And from full charge, I got 30 miles out of this thing. Pretty much killing the battery almost as fast as I could. So to get that many miles out of that small capacity, I mean, this thing is highly efficient. Now, if you still had concern over range, I believe they do sell a battery range extender accessory on their website for this bike as well. Now let's talk about this frame a little bit. Very nice design on the frame. You got the headlight integrated into the frame. All the welds are like ground down smooth. It's so sleek looking. The rear rack is really nice. Fenders were nice and thick. It's just a very nice appearance. It feels a lot higher end than some of the other bikes I've seen. I like the graphics. It's just very simple. This gold chrome on the Tenways and these 3 lines here. And that's really the only graphics on the bike at all. And then you've got some paint protection film on there. But it's a very good looking design and it's pretty lightweight. On the website it said 64 pounds. I weighed it on my scale, it said 61. That like never happens where I weigh a bike and it actually weighs less than what they say. But with the battery in it, 61 pounds on my scale, that's very lightweight. A lot of these fat tire bikes that I'm testing weigh close to 90 pounds. So to have one at 60 pounds, it just feels so lightweight and nimble for me. And this is the large frame size. On the website it said like 5'5" to 6'3" for the large frame. So can someone 5'5" ride this? Well, I got someone close to that at home. I got my wife who is 5'4". She tried this bike. It felt pretty big for her. I think she could ride it. If you're a confident 5'4", 5'5" rider, you can ride this no problem. It would be too stretched out for her. She wouldn't feel confident on it. She had to reach for the handlebars and getting her feet down was close. The minimum seat height on this bike is 34.5 inches. That's right about the limit of what she feels comfortable getting on. So hopefully that gives you a little bit better visual on what to expect and if this bike is right for you or not. Now at 6 feet tall, this bike was plenty comfortable for me to ride. You know, I'm a guy that doesn't really care all that much about leg extension when I'm pedaling. I think like a lot of e-bikers, I keep the seat pretty low, and that's comfortable for me. And one thing that did surprise me about this though is how comfy the seat was. When I looked at it initially, I'm thinking, okay, this is a bicycle seat. That's not gonna be comfy at all. And it actually was really comfy. It's a Cell Royal. I don't know if I'm saying that correct or not, but it's really soft and squishy. The gel in there is super soft. So it's pretty wide, pretty flat. And like I said, I was kind of surprised that I didn't hate it. I actually kind of like that seat on there. And plus it matches the bike and looks pretty good. All right, now let's drop down and talk about this motor a little bit. This is a mid-drive motor. This is the Bafang M410 motor, 250 watts, and I believe 80 Newton meters of torque. And I gotta tell you, I was very surprised at the power output on this motor. This bike feels way more powerful than those numbers. I was thinking, okay, 250 watt motor, it's probably not gonna be all that much juice. This thing has so much power. I mean, you're running it all through the gears because it's a mid-drive, so it amplifies everything. I never felt short on power. You downshift and man, it climbed anything I asked it to climb with ease. So super impressed with this motor. Also very surprised at how quiet it was. It operates very quietly. You get like a little bit of a high-pitched whine out of it. You could be very incognito with this bike. People probably wouldn't even hear that as you ride by. And again, no throttle on this bike. So all of your power comes through the pedals. The pedal assist system, which is connected to a torque sensor. This bike is keeping track of how much pressure you're putting on the pedals and delivering you power accordingly. The harder you push, the more power you get. And it was a great system. It functioned really well. It does a great job of tracking how much pressure. If you're not putting much in, the motor's very tame. You start pushing hard and it kicks in really good and you take off. So the torque sensor worked really, really well. And you've got some interesting gearing. So I think it's a 38 tooth on the front, and then you've got 10 speeds in the back. The smallest cog is 11 and the largest I think is 46. You've got a ton of gearing. I never seem to run out of gearing or power in this thing. Shifted very well. This derailleur it was pretty tight. It wasn't clanking around all over the place off-road, which I kind of liked. It was very quiet, hitting all the bumps. And the torque sensor also has like a torque management system where as you're shifting, it's just momentarily cutting some of the power to allow the shift to happen smoother. So it was a really nice ride. So I guess it's time I show you how this thing rides. Let's take a look at some of that performance footage I took. Time for us to try our hill climb test. Normally I would do this throttle only, but we don't have a throttle, so we're gonna have to get into the appropriate gear. I'm in like 7th now, approximately. Let's do some downshifting. Or let's go with 3rd gear. We're gonna be in 3rd gear mechanically. So we got lots of pedal power, and I'm gonna start us in like pedal assist 1. Just see how it goes. And right here is where we start. So let's just start from a stop. All right, we're in pedal assist 1. Let's see how hard it is to get going. I'm starting right on the hill here, and we'll adjust accordingly. Here we go, we're off and running. I mean, the torque sensor kicks in right away. I'm already getting power. That was pretty easy to get going, even on the hill. I feel like I need more power, so I'm gonna go to 2, level 2. Definitely felt it get easier. I'm gonna take it to 3. Okay, yeah. Now it just became almost effortless to climb this hill. It's like 10 to 12% grade. Let's take it to 4. 4 is super easy. Let's go right to 5. I mean, steepest part of the hill. I'm climbing no hands, with ease. I'm not even pushing hard. Look, if I push hard, how much faster it goes. There's so much power. This thing has so much power. 36 volt, 250 watt motor. And it wouldn't even cross my mind of not making that hill. That was so easy. All right, checking the brakes on the way down. Very nice. These brakes feel great, man. Usually they're the Tektro E350s, but these are a M275 or something. They're really nice. They have great pressure in the levers. They just feel nice and they stop very well. I mean, good brakes. I really like the brakes. All right, we're down here in the quiet. Can you even hear that motor? It's like it sounds like someone's running a vacuum cleaner in the house next door to you. You can barely hear the little whine of the motor. It's very, very, very quiet motor. This is very incognito. Most people probably wouldn't even realize this is electric. And the motor, I'm going to shift through the gears. So it's got the torque sensor, and then also has like a torque management system, I'll call it. So as you shift, it's cutting motor power to allow the shift to happen a little smoother. So maybe, we'll see if you can hear it, but I'm going to run through the gears here. We're going to shift up a little bit. Okay, up to like, I don't even know, 5 or 6, 7. It's just pretty smooth. But while we're on this flat, let's run a top speed real quick, which isn't going to be crazy fast. Put it into, I think I'm in like 9th now. There's no numbers here, so I don't know. Probably in 9th gear. Very easy to go 21 miles an hour. And the motor doesn't even sound like it's helping. Let me go up to pedal assist 5. Yeah, so it's not helping me at all. There's no power indicator really. Once you get to like 21 miles an hour, it just cuts out. So that's really your top speed. I can't pedal much faster than this. Not talking anyway. I'll be out of breath. So 20 with ease, but that's about, you know, top speed on this. Now the torque sensor is really nice. I'm in pedal assist 5 right now. So I'm getting, this is max power available to you. And you can see I can ride at 5 miles an hour. No problem, because I'm not pushing hard. But man, when I push, it takes right off. It's strong. You know, you're going 20 in no time. So it works really well. It's very sensitive. It recognizes that pedal pressure and it kicks in pretty immediately. I'll show you from a stop. All right, ready? And we're gonna start 3, 2, 1, go. Boom, right there. I mean, I didn't even get an 1/8 of a pedal turn and it kicked in. It's like almost instantaneous. So if you're worried about like, well, I need the throttle to be able to take off from a stop, not really, man. You can't even get a partial pedal turn. It's just immediate. It kicks in and helps you. So it's easy to get up and running. All right, we came to a steeper hill climb. Just for fun, I'm gonna try this with no motor power at all first, so you get an idea of how much this bike helps you. Oh, that's it. I almost fell off it. There's no way I would ever make that hill without motor power. Now, let's bump it up. I'm in first gear, going pedal assist 5. Here we go. Check this out. I mean, that was effortless. Holy cow. Craziness. All right, let's try a bit of off-roading. Tenways says this is a weekday workhorse and then a wild beast off-road. We're about to see about that. It's kind of muddy today too because it's been raining all week. But let's see, let's just try some off-road stuff, see what happens. I'm in a really low gear. I'm in like 2nd gear. And I'm in pedal assist 5 just to get all the juice available. But I would think if you were gonna start utilizing this as more of an off-road bike on occasion, you'd probably swap out the tires. They got a little bit of tread on them. I wouldn't call them an off-road tire. You would definitely want some knobbier tires on here. I'm not really an off-road rider. I don't mountain bike. I don't ride off-road. I don't ride trails. So I don't know that I'm really the guy to assess its off-road prowess. But I mean, it's not having any issue doing anything like this. I think they make this to be like their all-arounder. Like their weekday commuter slash, okay, now it's the weekend, I want to go ride some trails. Yeah, I think you could do it. I mean, you got a front suspension fork, no rear suspension, so you're going to feel that. All right, we got a downhill section here. Guess we'll test out our brakes a little bit. There's not really a whole lot of shakes and rattles. The only rattle I hear is the kickstand. The derailleur doesn't really rattle at all. Oh boy. This is, let's go slow here. Ooh. Oh. Okay, I've officially coated my tires in mud now. I guess we'll see how much traction it's got now. Seems to be doing okay. Maybe the real key might be going back up that section. Let's spin around and go back up it. So I don't know if it comes through on camera, but that's a decent sized hill. I'm gonna just make it, let's just go first gear. Okay, so we've just got buku power. I shouldn't have to even stand up to pedal or get off the seat or anything. I should be able to just destroy this hill, right? Look at my tire track going through that mud. Wow. Whoa! Front wheel slipped out from under me. Okay, yeah. Super muddy. All right, let's get going. Here we go. Ooh, rough. Are you spinning yet? A little bit. It's the wheel spinning a little bit. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. All right, we made it, no problem. We made it. You gotta kind of, it was getting a little swimmy. We got through it. Look at this, we'll stop at the top. Feels like a much stronger motor than it is here. All right. Have we coated the, yeah, we've coated the wheels pretty good. Yeah, now I'm gonna have to clean this thing before I film the last part for you. But you can see they clog up pretty good. Well, while I've been riding and enjoying this Ego X, I've also been doing a range test. You know, I started with a completely full battery, 100%, reset the trip meter, and I'm pretty far into it right now. After filming all these clips for you guys, I've gone, well, let's see, we're at 35% battery. 35% remaining. I've gone 21.7 miles. We're gonna keep going, and I'm gonna run this thing down pretty close to empty. I'll give you an idea of what it's like for a 180-pound man to ride this bike in pedal assist, mostly 3 and 5. I've been in 5 quite a bit, so I'm not conserving battery on this thing at all. So you'll be able to see how far this thing's gonna take you, and it's been a good ride so far. I don't really miss the throttle all that much. I've kind of gotten used to just continually pedaling to get the power, so not as big of an issue as I thought it was gonna be. I mean, ultimately, I think this bike does exactly what an e-bike is supposed to do. It enables you to go farther with less effort, right? You can explore farther and do it with ease. It just kind of takes, and you're still cycling. You're still riding a bicycle. You're just, it's amplifying the fun of it. It takes the fun and amplifies it, right? You can still get a workout and still have a good time doing it. All right, we're getting pretty low on battery. I am down to 9%, and it is showing red. 9%, I'm gonna do this hill climb, and then I'm gonna head for home. But it doesn't feel like it has lost 1 ounce of power yet. It still feels as powerful as the start. All right, we made it all the way back to our neighborhood, so we are home safe and sound. Never lost power, and we're pretty much at the end. It's at 4% battery, and it's still going strong though. I mean, it still has plenty of usable power. I could go out and ride around another 2 miles, but I think you get the picture. Let's take a look at the final number here. We'll hit our little trip meter. 30.1 miles. Trip time, 2 hours and 37 minutes. So 30 miles on this battery pack, which is impressive. Well, I hope those clips gave you a little bit better feeling for what it's like to be riding this Ego X from Tenways, and I'll give you a couple just final quick thoughts, maybe help you to decide if this is what you're looking for. So first thing I'll bring up is the motor and the power. This thing never felt like it fell short on the power. Plenty of power, very surprising. 36 volt system, 250 watt motor, but man, it has some really good power. No matter how steep of a hill I came to, I could always downshift the mechanical gears, bump up the pedal assist number, and just walk up that hill with ease. So very impressed with that. If you live in a mountainous area and you're looking for a hill climber, I definitely think this could do it. Now, if you're looking for a high-speed commuter, well, I mean, you're gonna get 20 miles an hour out of this before the motor just stops assisting you. So could be kind of tricky if you're in 25-mile-an-hour traffic, which is really going over 30. You're not really gonna be in the flow unless you got a lot stronger legs than I do. So something to think about there, how you're gonna use the bike. Next thing I'll bring up is the range. I was quite impressed with the range. I mean, relatively small battery pack for what I'm used to anyway. 36 volt, 14 amp hour, 504 watt hours, and I got 30 miles out of this thing. And out of that 30 miles, I never really felt like the power had a fall off. It seemed to have great power the whole way through that range. And I rode pedal assist 3 at a minimum, spent a lot of time in pedal assist 5. Just really rode with no battery conservation in mind whatsoever. Used as much power as I wanted at all times and was able to go 30 miles on this thing. So if you're gonna keep it in a lower pedal assist, put a lot more input into the bike, I think you should get a higher number than that. But as someone who rides 20 miles at a time for my rides, this had ample battery capacity for me. Now this might be the first class 1 bike I think I've ever been on. So not having a throttle, I got used to that the more and more I rode the bike. I eventually just kind of forgot that it didn't have a throttle. A lot of times I'm using the throttle to get up and going from a stop, but the torque sensor in this bike kicks in so quickly. I mean, you don't even have to turn the pedals a quarter turn. You push that pedal like 4 inches and the torque sensor kicks in and it starts delivering power. So it's really easy to get going from a stop. And then also, you know, I kind of use the throttle maybe to take a break and just relax and cruise. Or if you have a cadence sensor on your bike, you kind of just ghost pedal and it gives you power. And this one, if you want to relax a little bit, I mean, you can bump up the pedal assist to pedal assist 5. And yeah, you got to put pressure on the pedals to get the motor to kick in, but you don't got to put that much pressure on there. You can kind of sandbag it a little bit and take a little bit of a breather if you're in that high pedal assist. So that was my thought on not having a throttle. Eventually just kind of completely forgot about it, and it was very fun to ride. All right, everyone, I hope that gave you some insight into the Aygo X from Tenways. And if I missed something, drop it in the comments. I'll do my best to answer if I can. If you do decide this is the bike for you, use the link below and that'll help me keep making videos for all of you. And hopefully you found this helpful, informative, maybe at least entertaining today. If you did, consider hit subscribe and come back for more. Thanks for watching.